These lorries are taking over. One of them wants to talk to you. The lorry was very rude.
What's that steaming lump of scrap iron doing here? Be off with you!
Scrap iron? Steaming scrap iron? Ha! A little later, Percy met Thomas and James all day and was tired of the smell of fish. "Come on, Percy," said his driver. "Time to go home." "Please, sir, can I have a washdown first?" "Sorry, Percy, there isn't time. Sir Topham Hatt is waiting for us at the sheds." "There is to be a festival of flowers," announced Sir Topham Hatt. "This sign saying Best Dressed Station will be awarded to the winner. Please help with the arrangements." He's made a meal of the station, too. Then there was trouble. "We can't get into the waiting room," the passengers cried. "Why not?" asked the station master. "The ram won't let us." Everyone looked at the ram, and the ram looked at them. "He's not alone," exclaimed Percy's driver. "Let us out," begged the boys. "We're sorry." "Well, look at that," said the station master. "The boys are the culprits, not the ram. He was just making sure they did no more damage." "We thought it would be fun, but it wasn't. We'll put everything back." A few days later, Sir Topham Hatt invited some of the engines to Maithwaite, winner of the Best Dressed Station Award. "I'm sorry, Toby," whispered Percy. "You made the right choice." Then Sir Topham Hatt made an announcement. "There is one more prize for our good friend the ram."
You look splendid flying along the line, Duck, glowed Bertie. No wonder they call you Great Western. Thank you, Bertie. Percy's right, he thought to himself. Engines are happiest when their wheels are firmly on the rail. That night, Percy and Duck stayed a little longer at the quay. The air was warm and the sea calm. "There's a shooting star," said Duck. "Don't be daft," laughed Percy. "It's Harold. Look, he's hovering overhead." Something fluttered down towards Duck. His driver caught it. "It's a flag from the regatta. Harold's giving it to you as a present, Duck." "That was kind of Harold," whispered Duck. "He may have whirly arms instead of wheels, but he seems to understand just what an engine needs." Duck still wonders about the lands beyond the horizon, but I think he knows that sometimes the best travels are those we can only dream about.
A long time ago, a little engine was returning home. It was a misty, moonlit night. Suddenly, the engine lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. It was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home, but he never reaches the other side. What do you think of that, Duncan? "Rubbish," replied Duncan. "Never mind him, Peter Sam. He'd be frightened if he really saw a ghost." This gave Peter Sam's driver an idea. "Let's play a trick on Duncan." The next day he spoke to Duncan's driver and fireman, who agreed. "We'll do it tonight." Duncan had to take coal cars to the slate mine and then bring cars back. When dusk fell, he was keen to leave. "If we don't go now, Scarloey will take my favorite place in the sheds." "We have to collect our cars first," his driver replied. He could see their plan was working because Duncan was nervous. When night fell, they set off. The mists were rising around the old iron bridge. Duncan whistled, and the sound echoed everywhere. Then, ahead, he saw flickering lights. His driver knew they were only insects that shine brightly at night, but to Duncan they looked like an engine. Next, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below. "It's the ghost! Take me back! Take me back, please!"
What's that, Duck? Are you afraid of bees? They're only insects after all, so don't let that buzzbox Diesel tell you different. His name is Boko, and he didn't. I wouldn't care if hundreds were swarming around. I'd just blow smoke and make them buzz off. "Buzz, buzz, buzz," retorted Duck. The next morning, James arrived at the station to collect his coaches. The passengers were excited and keen to get on board. The platform was crowded, and the porter was in a hurry. "Mind your backs," he shouted. Then there was trouble. The beehive fell and broke open. The station cleared like magic. James heard a familiar buzzing. The bees were too cold to be cross, so they buzzed around the fireman, hoping he'd mend their hive.
So it was you, murmured Sir Topham Hatt. I owe those engines an apology. Thomas and Percy soon came to the rescue, and it wasn't too long before Cranky was upright again and clearing the wreckage. At last, all the engines were free.
Oh, thank you, said Gordon. What would I have done without you?
Well, I had to be rescued before I could help you. But I never thought it would be by a couple of... Cranky was about to say bugs, but he quickly corrected himself. Small engines, thank you. I'll never be rude again. However, you two mites are in my way, so move over. Ha, said Percy. He's back to bugging us. Don't move! You're still attached to Cranky! But it was too late. Cranky still looks down on the two little engines. But ever since that stormy night, he never calls them bugs or mites, because he knows they might bite back.
There, emerging out of the sheds, were two shiny tenders. Now, if I had two tenders, said Gordon, I wouldn't need to stop so often, and I wouldn't have to listen to silly little engines. Those tenders belong to a visitor, replied his driver. Diesel sidled up alongside. Everyone knows that tenders are a mark of distinction, but I'm afraid that no amount of tenders will save you in the end. We Diesels are taking over, and we don't need tenders to make us important, not even one. Gordon was most upset. He was feeling just the same next day. I'm not happy. I know, said Duck. It's boiler ache. It's not boiler ache, protested Gordon. It's... Of course it is, interrupted Henry. That water's bad. Have a good washout.
Come on, Toby. We'll go to the farms. They'll still use us. Toby trundled sadly away. His railway ran through a narrow gorge, but vehicles had to tackle a steep and dangerous road. When Toby arrived, he saw the lorry from the quarry again. It was loaded with rock. That lorry's in trouble, thought Toby. And he was. The driver was thrown clear. Rotten roads, he muttered. The wrecked lorry was taken to the docks. Percy looked at the lorry. What's this lump of steaming scrap iron? He teased.
I'll be back, replied the lorry, so you can wipe that silly smile off your smoke box.
Ha, said Percy, and wheeshed him loudly. Then Butch, the breakdown vehicle, arrived. He was towing the lorry from the flour mill.
Look at me. I am the smartest, most useful engine on the line. Rubbish, replied Thomas. We're all useful. Sir Topham Hatt says so, and he's head of the whole railway. You know what, James? Added Percy. What? Replied James. You're getting all puffed up. James huffed away. Later, he was still boasting. I'm the pride of the line. I saw you pulling freight cars, snorted Gordon. You're only a goods engine. I pull coaches, too. Not as much as I do. But Sir Topham Hatt has plans for me. James was only making this up, but Gordon believed him. What plans? Wait and see. Dear, he thought. Now what'll I do? Thomas was shunting shining new coaches. Good morning, James. Are those coaches for me? Asked James hopefully. Actually, Thomas, I'm taking the coaches. Sir Topham Hatt asked me to tell you. What about the cars? Asked Thomas. Give them to Gordon. Come on, Thomas, said his driver. Orders are orders. So when James's driver returned, James was coupled to the coaches and he puffed away. Thomas returned with the freight cars. And a few minutes later, Gordon arrived. Where's the express? Thomas told him about James. And so here are your cars. Gordon was very cross, and so was his driver. Wait till Sir Topham Hatt hears about this. Meanwhile, James was enjoying himself enormously. What a clever plan! What a clever plan! He chuffed. Then he saw Sir Topham Hatt. Some jokes are funny, but not this one, James.
We're sure to be safe in this shed, said Duck, but he was wrong. The engines had no idea they were about to be put in great danger by an old tramp steamer. It was out of control and running aground, straight into the sheds. Called the engines from inside the shed. I can't!
can't, called Cranky.
When the storm was over, Sir Topham Hatt rushed to the scene of destruction.
Thomas and Percy will help you, he called to Cranky. And then you can help the engines.
Oh, please hurry, cried Cranky, and tell them I'm sorry I was rude to them.
Henry, he asked, would you like my tenders? Yours? What have you got to do with tenders? All right, said Duck, the deal's off. Would you like them, Donald? I wouldn't deprive you of the honor, replied Donald. It is a great honor, continued Duck thoughtfully, but I'm only a tank engine. Perhaps James might. I'm sorry I was rude, said Henry hastily. How many tenders have you, and when could I have them? I have 6, and you can have them this evening. 6 lovely tenders, chortled Henry. What a splendid sight I'll be. Henry was excited all day. You think it will be all right? He asked for the umpteenth time. Of course, said Duck. They're all ready now. The other engines waited where they could each get a good view. But Henry wasn't a splendid sight at all.